What is up, fellow developers? My name is Tyler Potts and welcome back to day 8 of 31 days and 31 videos. In this video we're going to be creating this lovely UI design of these product cards of Nike shoes, but as you notice, as you move your mouse around the screen, so does the elements on the inside of the cards. So without further ado guys, let's get started. The first thing we need to do is stop this server, cd out of this project folder and create a new Vue project. So to create a new Vue project, you need to have the Vue CLI installed. You can either do that by yarn or by npm. So you just run npm i-g at Vue/CLI and click enter, and that will install it. I expect you to already have Node. If you don't have Node, go find a tutorial to teach you that, or just go to nodejs.org and install that to have npm. It will also download npm for you. So let's carry on. So let's say Vue create. So this is how you create a new project, and then you give it a project name. So we're going to say Vue cards. Hit enter. And now this is going to ask us for a preset. We're going to use the default preset and continue on. And once it's done, I'll see you there. Okay, as you can see, there is now, this is now finished, and we can cd into our project. So Vue cards. Now once we're in here, we can run code dot, and that's going to open our text editor. Of course, it opens on the other screen because that's just typical of it. Let's pull it up here and stretch it out. So as you can see here, we have a few different elements. The first elements you can see, or folders, we have the first one is source, public, and node modules. You don't need to touch node modules, and you don't need to touch public. Public has your index file in, but we inject the code into there via JavaScript or VueJS. Now inside the source is where we're going to be working from. We have multiple folders again. So we have this main file, but again, all this does is inject our code, our VueJS code, into the public index. So we can close this. We can then have a look inside the assets folder because it just has a logo. We're actually going to delete that logo, and we are going to paste in 3 new images of shoes, which you saw in the beginning of this video. There they are. You've also got the components. The component folder currently has a hello world one in there. We don't need that, so we're going to just delete that, and in here we're going to put a new file called product.vue. We're going to give that a capital P, hit enter. We're going to give this a template. And then in here we could just give it a div called product. And we just say product in there. So we don't need to touch this folder. We just thought I'd set it up quickly. Now finally we have the app.vue, and inside the app.vue we also have the hello world component, but we've deleted it, and the image, which we should also delete. So let's delete both of these, and also the component inside the components section. We're also going to remove the styling, and now let's actually get started with our VueJS application. So the first thing first, we need to set up our markup. So we have this app. We're going to set this to be a main tag, this to be a main tag, and then we're going to set up a section tag in here called products. And then inside of that, we're just going to basically loop through all our products. But to loop through our products, we actually need some data to loop through. So we're actually going to set up a data method here, or data, and we're going to return an object, and inside the object we're going to have products, which is going to be an array. And then I'm actually going to paste in the values for this, so I'm not typing it all out, but as you can see, it's just a JSON, or just a bunch of 3 different objects for 3 different assets we have. So we have 3 different shoes. You can see we have the green pair, which is this green shoe. We have the blue and the pink as well, all with different elements in it. So the first element is the title of the actual product. The second one is the color of it. The third one is the background text. So if you remember in the first tutorial, we have the text in the background. And finally, we have the source, which is actually the image source, which we have to require in Node.js, which will give us the correct path for the image. So now we have that data, we can continue on to set up our products. So back in our product, we can now, well, we already have a product. So we might as well, inside of products, well, we might as well import that product. So in the script, we're going to say import product. We're going to say from, and we're going to use this folder components / product. And that is going to give us the product. Now we have to put this inside of our components, just so it knows to use this product inside of here. So now when we reference product, so this product has to match the component name here, it will now render out a product. So if we hit save and we go back, oh, we actually have to start our surfer. I forgot about this part. So to start our surfer, I'm going to run yarn surf, but you can also run, if you installed it with npm, you can say npm surf. I'm going to run yarn, so I'm going to say yarn surf, hit enter, and this is going to run our development surfer, which will then refresh this page once it is ready. Okay, so that is now ready. If we refresh this page, you can see we get a product, and that is the one project we've had here. If we copy and paste this a few times, you can see now we have 3 product components. Now we don't want to have to copy and paste for each one of the products in here. We actually, because if we add more to here, that means we've got to copy and paste more of the products. So to do this, we're going to delete these products, and we're going to use a Vue statement called v-for. And what this does is basically like doing a for loop in JavaScript, but for your HTML element. So in here, you'll say for, you'll say product inside of the products array. So this is referencing this products array inside of our data. We now need to bind a key to it because it needs to have a unique identifier. And for that, we're going to say product. So we're using this variable we've just set up, and we're going to say product.color because we only have one of those in each product. Finally, we're gonna pass through a prop called product, which is gonna just take the whole product object we've created. Hit save, and now if we go back, you'll see 3 products have now been printed, and we have only got 1. So we could put in here product main, hit save, and you can see they've all updated with product main. So we can also now set up a script tag in here. We can export it with a name of product, and we can also give it props. So we actually passed a prop down to this product using this tag here, product, and passed a product. So in props, we can say product, and now we can use that product inside of our template. So we can say here, we can use these templating strings, and or templating curly braces, whatever you want to call them. And in here, we're just going to say product. So we're referencing the prop name, and then we're just going to say title, hit save. And as you can see, we now have all 3 titles for those, the different products. So what we're going to do in here is we're going to set out our markup for our products. So in product, we're going to have a product hyphen inner. Inside the inner, we're going to have a product hyphen text hyphen wrap. We're then going to have inside of here a h2 with the class of background text. Inside that, we're going to say product.background text, and that is going to give us our background text. If we hit save, you see we get Nike, Air, and Max, which are all different values from our. We now want to say product hyphen image hyphen wrap, and it's going to wrap our image in. So we're going to do an image tag. And in here, it's going to have a source, but we're going to bind this source. So Vue has a directive called bind. So we're going to say v bind, or you could, for shorthand, you could just use a semicolon, just like what we did here. So I should have explained this earlier. So we did this for the key and the product. It allows us to use JavaScript or variables from our script rather than using HTML strings. And here we can say product.source because we pass that through. And then we can give this a class of image. Hit save, and you can see all the images are now displaying. Once we've done that, we can now set up the product detail, and the product detail is going to have a h2. Inside this h2, it's going to have the product.title, and then we're just going to have a standard paragraph with lorem of about 30 pieces to actually. probably 20 line or 20 words of lorem ipsum. And that is about right. If we go back, you'll see we have the background text, the foreground image or the product image, we have the product name or title and the product description and the rest of the elements, which is good. We now want to style this up. So back in our app.vue, we might as well start styling our main app component. So inside our app component, we want to set out the, we want to basically do some resets. There we go, that's better. I'm going to set margin to 0, padding to 0, and a box sizing of border box. We're then going to set the body up, and the body is going to have a font family equal to Montserrat and also sans serif. We're then going to use the main, and we're going to give it a width of 100 VW, viewport width, and a min height of 100 VH. We're going to give it overflow of hidden, and then we're going to say background color is going to be equal to EEE. We're then going to say display flex, which is going to allow us to do flex box. We're going to say justify content, and we're going to say center, and we're also going to do align items. Center to center everything to the center of the screen. We're finally going to get the products element, which is up here, the product section. And in here, we're just going to say display flex. We're going to say max width of 1280 pixels with a padding of 25 pixels and a margin of 0 auto. We're going to hit save. If we go back to our products, you can see now that all our ducks are in a row. And now we've done all our styling for the actual main app component. We now need to do some styling in the product component. So inside the product component, we want to set up a style tag again without stylus. And in here, we want to say product. So we're going to say dot product, and we're going to give this a flex of 1.1 and then 33.33%, which is going to give us basically a 3-column grid. We're going to give it a width of 100% to make sure it will span as much as it can, and padding of 25 pixels. We're going to have a product hyphen inner, and we're going to say position relative, because we're going to have absolute positioned items inside of this. We're going to give this another padding of 25 pixels. A box shadow equal to 0 pixels, 0 pixels, 16 pixels, RGBA 0.25. If we go back, you can see there's now a box shadow on there. We can give this, so to use the parallaxing, we need to set something called perspective, and we're going to do that on the product inner, but we're going to do that once we get round to doing the parallaxing. So there's 3 elements. So at the minute they're all just white boxes, but first, before we fix the white box issue, we're going to say product image wrap dot image, and we're going to set this width to 100%, and that will bring it back down. So now they all fit inside, and now it's looking a lot better. We now need to set the colors or the background colors, and one issue is we can't actually distinctively know what is different inside of these. We have no different classes, so we're going to go up to the product inner, and we're going to bind this class so we can bind it. And now we can say this is going to be a string, but we're also going to add on, so we're going to do a space there. We're also going to add on our product.color to the classes. So that's going to return product and then color, the color, which could be green, blue, or pink, as the class, which means we can now style those individually. So on the product inner, we'll also go check for the class of green. If we have the class of green, we're going to give this a background image. It's going to have a linear gradient. It's going to be to bottom right, and it's going to start off with a 24D484, and then we're going to end it with a 116432, a darker green. We can hit save, and if we go back, you can see it's now got a nice green gradient. We can then set up the next box, which would be the blue box. So the blue box actually has some mint. So we're going to say to bottom left. We're going to leave this mint color in here, but we're going to change this second color to 2474 C4. But we're going to set this. Sorry, this is actually in the way. We're going to set this to 70%. So we're going to hit save. We can actually make this a bit wider, this box. We're just going to zoom in by 1. So I should have done that at the start. So we've got the product image blue. We're going to say the product image pink. And this one is going to be equivalent to, F4. It should also be right this time again. So it's going to be F4, 44, A4. And the second one is going to stay as a blue, but we're going to make it a dark blue. So we're going to say 1168 D4. Hit save and go back. And as you can see, we now have a nice pink, but we want to remove this 70% because we don't actually want that on this one. And there you go. So now we have the green to dark green, the blue to a mint, like the shoe, and the pink to a purple. Not really like the shoe, but I like the colour. So that is the next step. We now need to style up the product text wrap, and this is going to be a position absolute element because we want it to sit behind the actual image. So we're going to say top left, right 0, bottom 0, and we're going to set the C index to 0 with an overflow of hidden. We're then going to say dot product text wrap H2. We'll give it a color of 313131. We're going to give it a font size equal to 128 pixels. We're going to give it a font weight of 900 pixels. We'll give it a opacity of 0.2 because we don't want it to be standing out a lot. And we're going to give it a transform origin of center because we're going to be transforming this as well. So there you go. Now you can see it there, but you can see it's actually sitting on top of the image. That's because we need to set the image as a relative. We need to set this wrap to position relative with a C index of 1. If we hit save, you'll see the text has now gone back behind the shoe. We also want to give this a transform origin of center because we're going to be transforming this as well. So we have the image, and to make the image look like it's sitting off this box a little, we can give it a filter property, which can say drop shadow. We can say 0 pixels, 0 pixels, 12 pixels, RGBA 0.25. And now we've got a little box shadow on this as well, which makes it look like it's sitting slightly off the page. We now want to set the product detail, which is going to have a background color of FFF, but you'll see that doesn't look so great. So we're going to use some margin tricks. We're going to give this a padding of 25 pixels, but a margin of 0 pixels, minus 25 pixels, minus 25 pixels. And that is going to bring it to the edges of the container. So we want to say product detail H2, and we'll give this a font size of 24 pixels and a font weight of 700. We're also going to give it a line height, nope, sorry, not a line height, a color of 676767, along with the margin bottom of 15 pixels. And the last element we have to style is the product-detail paragraph, which is going to have a font size of 14 pixels, a line height of 1.5, a font weight of 300, and a color of 676767, hit save, and that is all the styling done. So if this is what you want without the parallaxing, you can take this away now and use this without the parallaxing. But for those who are interested in the parallaxing, let's get right to it. So the first part of this will be to head back over to our app, and the first thing we need for an app that is going to be using parallax is, how is it going to be controlled? We're going to be using the mouse movement to control it. So we need to set up an event listener with the mouse movement. So we're going to say at mouse move is equal to a function or a method we're going to set called mouse move. So underneath our data, we're going to set up methods, and in our methods, we're going to set one called mouse move. We'll set it again as function, hit save, and that's not going to do anything yet. We're going to pass through the E. And what the E is, obviously, is the event. We're then going to say let mouse x equal e.client x. We'll copy that and say client y and mouse y. And then we're going to get the products using the standard JavaScript way of document.query selector all. And we're going to say .product. So it's going to get us all the, we can say .products. And that's going to get us all the elements we need. We're then going to basically do a for loop. So we're going to get all the products, then we're going to get a 0. We're then going to set the I to I dot less than products dot length, I plus plus, and then we can say let product equal products I. And now we've got the product element. The issue is we actually need to get the product element image. So to do that, we just need to say let product image, maybe img, no, we'll do a full. And then we'll say product.query selector, and we'll say product image wrap. So what this line of code is doing here is saying we want to set this variable product image equal to product, which is equal to the product we're currently looping through, query selector, and then basically we're searching inside of this product for this class. So for each one, we're going to search for their own image wrap. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to say let image x equal mouse x minus this dot L chords, which we're going to set up as a function in 1 second, or we'll just say chords, and we're just going to say product image. We've got to pass through an element, and it's going to return x. We're going to also copy that and do a y. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to get the coordinates of this product. We're going to get the x coordinate, and we're going to take that away from the current mouse position. So we've only got the distance between the mouse and the product image, and the same with the y value. Now, before we continue on with this met property, we're just going to quickly set up the chords thing, which is going to take in an element, and the element is going to basically say, we're just going to say let chords equal l.get bounding client rect, and then we can say return an object with x, which is going to be chords.width divided by 2, and y is chords.height divided by 2. Or is it top and then left? No, top then left. I think that's right. But anyway, once we've got that element, we can then say product image dot style dot transform is equal to, and now we're going to use templating strings so we can add in some variables into our CSS. So we're going to say translate y is equal to minus, so the opposite to where our mouse is, and then we're going to use the templating strings to go image y, and we're going to divide this by 45 because it actually is quite a big number and we don't want it to be that big. So we're going to say pixels, and then we're going to say translate x, and we're going to do the same. So we're going to say minus in front of this, but we're also going to say image x divided by 45, and we're going to add in pixels. And then we're just going to hit save quickly. We're going to go back in here, and as you can see, the elements are now moving dependent on where we are. It's kind of laggy because my computer is dying apparently, but there you go, it's now fixed itself. But yeah, so now it renders exactly what it needs to render and moves it where it needs to move it to. So we can mess around with these values. So we can set this to 20 and this one also to 20. If we go back, you'll see it moves just a little bit more. So you can mess around with these values to how you want them, to get them to move in the position or in the way you want it to move. So if we shrink the screen quickly a little, you can see they just move nicely and consistently. So if we go back, I keep doing this, close. If we go back into our mouse move function, we can actually set a value called translate C, and we're going to set that equal to 100 pixels. That's going to bring the elements forward by 100 pixels. Actually, they look slightly bigger, but they also move a lot better. So as you can see, when we move left and right, they move a hell of a lot better. Let's now do we're going to say let background text, because that is the next element we're going to do parallaxing. So we're going to say product.query selector, and we're going to say .background text, and we're going to give this a let background x equal mouse x minus this .quartz, and we're going to pass through the background text element, and we're going to get the .x value. But this time we're only going to get the x value because we don't want to be moving the text up and down. I feel like that's overkill. It'd just be best to do a transform equal to, and in here we can say translate x, and then we're not going to do minus for this one because we want it to move in the opposite direction to the image. And actually we might actually do the y as well. So while we're here, we might as go y, y, and y. And then we can set up a translate y, and we can say background y. Hit save. If we go back, and now you can see as we move in different directions, everything else moves too, which is perfect. But it doesn't really feel that, it just feels like it's a flat image moving. So to help fix that, we can go into our product and go to our product inner, and we could set something called perspective. And I'm going to set this to perspective 1000. I'm also going to do the same with the text wrap. Hit save, and as we go back, you can notice once it renders properly, it actually feels like the elements are sitting off the page slightly. If we set this now from 1000 to, let's say, 400, and same with this one, you can see the image has got a lot bigger and it feels a lot closer, but it also makes it feel like it's a bit different, which is kind of cool. So we can set that back to 1000 and that back to 1000. So back to this, and there we go. But I'm also going to set this back to 40. Hit save, and there we go. So it moves a bit different, a bit slower. Nice. So that is the parallaxing effects we were after. This is what we wanted. I hope you have learned something new in this video. If you have, don't forget to leave the thumbs up. If you are new around here, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button, guys. So thank you guys for watching this video, and peace out.
always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking